Plato's account of Atlantis has echoed through history for over 2 millennia. He described a sprawling island, a civilization of unmatched wealth and knowledge, vanishing beneath the waves in a single catastrophic night. The story, passed down through dialogues, has long been treated as allegory, a cautionary tale about hubris, pride, and the limits of human ambition. Yet the very precision of his descriptions, cities arranged in concentric rings, vast harbors, advanced engineering, invites questions. Could such specificity have arisen purely from imagination? History itself leaves gaps that Plato's tale seems to fill unnervingly well. Ancient records are silent on certain maritime cultures, and archaeological evidence hints at civilizations that appear abruptly in the historical timeline. Tools, monuments, and knowledge appear with little apparent precursor, leaving scholars puzzled. Could there have been a hidden network of societies, a civilization so sophisticated that traces were obscured, erased, or misunderstood? The notion of Atlantis surviving as a hidden global empire stretches this speculation further. Imagine a civilization that did not vanish entirely, but retreated, adapting in secret, shaping events from the shadows while the world believed them lost. Trade, knowledge, and influence might have continued quietly, seeding ideas across continents, waiting for the right moment to reemerge. In this tension between myth and reality, curiosity awakens. Plato's Atlantis is familiar, almost comforting, a story with clear morals. Yet the silence in the historical record, the unexplained anomalies, and the possibility of lost technologies suggests something far stranger. What if what we accept as legend is only a fragment, a shadow of a greater truth? Tonight we begin our journey at this threshold, peering between what was told and what might have been. The line between story and reality blurs, leaving one haunting question lingering in the minds. Could Atlantis have endured not as myth, but as a hidden global empire? Evidence for a hidden Atlantis, if it existed, may not lie in one place, but scattered across the globe. From the submerged ruins off the coast of Cuba to megalithic structures in South America, echoes of advanced knowledge hint at a network of civilizations more connected than history admits. These sites share architectural precision and alignment with celestial patterns, features remarkably similar despite geographic separation. Such parallels challenge the conventional timeline of human development and suggest the possible influence of a single, overarching culture. Consider the pyramids of Egypt and Mesoamerica. Though thousands of miles apart, both feature advanced engineering, exacting stonework, and astronomical alignments. Scholars have debated whether these are coincidences, independent evolution, or evidence of shared knowledge. A hidden Atlantis could explain these anomalies. Its survivors might have traveled, traded, and taught, leaving traces of their lost civilization behind, quietly shaping the trajectory of emerging societies. The oceans themselves could be guardians of Atlantis' secrets. Submerged platforms and strange topographies hinted landscapes that once hosted settlements, now hidden beneath waves. Geological evidence supports the idea of catastrophic floods and seismic events that could have forced a civilization underground or undersea, preserving knowledge while eluding historical record. Even mythology around the world contains echoes of a global cataclysm and advanced societies. Stories of sunken cities, divine punishment, and lost kingdoms resonate across continents, suggesting that oral traditions may encode fragments of real events. These narratives, while often dismissed as folklore, could serve as indirect evidence of Atlantis's influence extending beyond a single island. By tracing these global footprints, a pattern emerges, one that challenges the notion of isolated civilizations. Each site, each legend may be a piece of a puzzle, pointing towards a hidden empire that survived in secrecy. The possibility invites reconsideration of our understanding of human history. Was Atlantis truly destroyed, or did it persist, seething civilizations worldwide, waiting for discovery? In the chapters that follow, we will examine these sites and myths, weighing evidence and speculation, and explore the shadowy trail that Atlantis may have left across the earth. If Atlantis survived as a hidden global empire, one of the most compelling questions is the level of technology its people possessed. Ancient myths, combined with archaeological anomalies, hinted capabilities far beyond what conventional history credits to early civilizations. Reports of precision-cut stones, advanced metallurgy, and knowledge of astronomy and engineering suggest that this lost culture may have developed technologies that rival or even surpass modern understanding in certain areas.
Knowledge, but also strategic planning, allowing the civilization to spread while remaining concealed. Evidence of unknown tools, inexplicable artifacts, and sudden leaps in human capability further suggests that this lost empire influenced development across multiple regions. The pattern is not continuous but sporadic, as if the knowledge was selectively shared, preserved in secrecy, and occasionally rediscovered. By examining these technological traces, we see the possibility of a civilization that did not vanish entirely, but persisted, guiding humanity in subtle ways. The challenge is separating legend from evidence and understanding whether such advancements were isolated miracles or the legacy of a hidden global empire whose reach extended far beyond the stories recorded in conventional history. This exploration of technology sets the stage for understanding Atlantis not as a single lost city, but as a dispersed force, shaping civilizations through hidden knowledge and enduring influence. If Atlantis survived as a hidden global empire, its influence would not have been confined to a single island or region. Legends describe a civilization with far-reaching trade networks, advanced navigation, and the capacity to exert control subtly across distant lands. Traces of Atlantean presence could be embedded in the sudden rise of powerful city-states, mysterious architectural similarities across continents, and the unexplained diffusion of advanced knowledge. Consider the Mediterranean, the rapid emergence of civilizations such as the Minoans, with their complex palaces, sophisticated plumbing systems, and maritime dominance, suggests guidance or inspiration from an older, more advanced source. Similarly, the sudden sophistication of early Mesopotamian city-states, with their intricate irrigation, monumental architecture, and proto-writing systems, raises the possibility of external influence. These cultural leaps may reflect Atlantean strategists, carefully shaping emerging societies to ensure stability and continuity without revealing their presence. Beyond the Mediterranean, evidence of Atlantean influence may appear in South America, where ancient cultures such as the Inca or pre-Inca civilizations display advanced engineering and agricultural techniques. The construction of terraced landscapes, precise stonework, and astronomical alignments hint at knowledge that seems too advanced for their local timeline. If Atlanteans migrated or sent emissaries, their impact could explain these sudden advancements and the striking parallels with old-world megalithic structures. Trade and resource networks could have been central to Atlantean strategy. Control over metals, rare stones, and agricultural innovations would have allowed them to subtly shape economies and politics without exposing their full technological advantage. Oral traditions, myths, and symbols embedded in local cultures may act as a coded record of Atlantean influence, teaching lessons or preserving knowledge in allegorical forms. The empire's reach might also include strategic concealment, hidden settlements, underground complexes, and deliberately obscured monuments could have allowed Atlanteans to operate in secrecy, maintaining sovereignty while influencing world events. Such locations would serve as research centers, energy hubs, or cultural repositories, safeguarding knowledge across generations. This geopolitical model redefines how we understand early human history. Instead of isolated civilizations independently developing, the pattern suggests a coordinated, yet concealed power guiding humanity's trajectory. The evidence, though scattered, forms a web connecting disparate regions, technologies, and mythologies. Each node, whether a pyramidal structure, a perfectly aligned city, or a recurring symbol, acts as a potential marker of Atlantean strategy, revealing a civilization that sought to endure through influence rather than conquest. By examining the potential global reach of a hidden Atlantis, we recognize the subtle, often invisible forces that could have shaped history. Their legacy is not always obvious, but woven into the fabric of emerging societies, leaving a trail of innovation, mystery, and unanswered questions that continue to challenge historians, archaeologists, and seekers of lost knowledge today. Atlantean technology, if it survived, would have far surpassed contemporary civilizations, blending practical engineering, energy manipulation, and possibly even undiscovered scientific principles. The myths surrounding Atlantis describe devices capable of immense power, sources that could light cities, propel vessels across oceans, and manipulate natural forces. Whether these accounts are allegorical or literal, they suggest a civilization with knowledge lost to history, preserved in fragments across the globe. Consider architecture and construction. Measured precisely, often on astronomical alignments, megalithic structures from Egypt to South America reflect knowledge that exceeds the presumed capabilities of their builders. If Atlanteans shared blueprints, techniques, or training discreetly, it could explain the rapid technological leaps in seemingly unconnected regions. The alignment of pyramids, ziggurats, and ceremonial platforms may encode principles of mathematics, astronomy, and energy, and Atlantean legacy hidden in plain sight. Energy systems are another area where Atlantean knowledge may have endured. Ancient texts hint at devices capable of harnessing natural forces, water, wind, or electromagnetic energy to perform work far beyond conventional methods. Artifacts such as the Antikythera mechanism, advanced metallurgy in pre-Columbian artifacts, or unexplained electrical phenomena in temple complexes might represent the residue of Atlantean experimentation, rediscovered intermittently by later civilizations. Atlantean knowledge may also survive in cultural and philosophical traditions. Allegorical stories, myths, and symbols encoded in religious and esoteric systems may act as a repository of practical wisdom. Secret societies, initiation rituals, and oral traditions may preserve fragments of Atlantean thought, offering insights into governance, ethics, and science. These encoded forms ensured that knowledge survived even if the civilization itself vanished, maintaining influence over humanity's development subtly and indirectly. The legacy of Atlantis, therefore, is not only in objects or ruins, but in the patterns of human advancement. From engineering marvels and unexplained scientific principles to philosophical and mythological frameworks, the imprint of this hidden civilization may permeate the world's collective memory. By piecing together these traces, we gain a vision of a civilization whose technological and intellectual achievements were designed to endure, hidden beneath the currents of human history, waiting to be rediscovered. The legacy of Atlantis challenges the conventional timeline of civilization, compelling us to reconsider assumptions about human progress. If Atlantis truly survived as a hidden global empire, the advanced knowledge we encounter across history, often dismissed as anomaly, could be part of a deliberate and enduring system, a blueprint left by a civilization that sought to shape humanity without revealing its presence. The Americas contain numerous archaeological anomalies that challenge conventional timelines and hint at an advanced hidden influence. Monumental constructions from the Nazca lines in Peru to Machu Picchu and Teotihuacan reveal architectural precision, astronomical alignment, and geometric sophistication beyond what is typically attributed to their credited civilizations. The abrupt emergence of urban centers with complex infrastructure, advanced irrigation systems, and unexplained metallurgy raises questions about external guidance or lost knowledge. In particular, the Nazca Line's vast geoglyphs demonstrate a precise understanding of scale and celestial correlation, suggesting knowledge of astronomy and surveying that predates known techniques. Teotihuacan, with its monumental pyramids and grid-based urban planning, exhibits mathematical precision and symbolic orientation reminiscent of Mediterranean and Near Eastern sites. These similarities indicate a potential shared source of knowledge, possibly originating from a highly advanced civilization, such as Atlantis. Additionally, sudden leaps in craftsmanship and engineering, like massive stone blocks precisely fitted without mortar, or advanced water management systems, appear without clear historical precedent. Artifacts and cultural motifs occasionally echo symbols linked to ancient legends of a lost empire, suggesting diffusion of knowledge or direct intervention. Comparisons across continents reveal striking parallels in construction techniques, celestial alignments, and symbolic motifs, challenging the narrative of isolated development. These remnants, scattered and enigmatic, imply the presence of a hidden hand.
Atlantean influence. They hint at a deeper interconnected history, one that standard archaeology often overlooks, waiting for careful scrutiny and reinterpretation. Africa's ancient landscapes hold enigmas that hint at a civilization far older and more sophisticated than commonly acknowledged. Beyond the pyramids of Egypt, lesser-known megalithic structures in places like Nabta Playa and the Senegambian stone circles suggest advanced astronomical knowledge and organized labor long before classical historical records. Nabta Playa, in particular, predates the Giza pyramids by centuries and aligns with stellar constellations, indicating a complex understanding of celestial cycles that rivals known ancient civilizations. The Great Zimbabwe ruins offer another puzzle. Its massive stone walls, constructed without mortar, demonstrate engineering precision that seems disproportionate to the technological context of the surrounding region and era. Similarly, the Djenné urban settlement in Mali exhibits evidence of planned habitation and trade networks dating back thousands of years, pointing to an advanced social structure that defies conventional historical timelines. African rock art and carvings also provide cryptic hints. Certain petroglyphs depict figures and symbols reminiscent of mythic Atlantean iconography, suggesting the potential cultural memory of a lost global empire. Legends of vanished kingdoms, powerful ancient rulers, and unexplained wealth may not be mere folklore, but fragments of suppressed history. When viewed collectively, these African enigmas imply the presence of knowledge and influence far beyond local innovations. Their architectural sophistication, astronomical precision, and cultural echoes may signify that Africa was not merely a peripheral region, but an integral part of a wider, possibly hidden civilization. These remnants challenge linear interpretations of history, suggesting a narrative in which Atlantis, or a similar hidden global empire, might have left enduring traces across the continent, silently shaping human development and leaving clues that demand careful, critical examination. Asia, with its vast and ancient landscapes, harbors mysteries that may connect to a hidden global empire like Atlantis. The Indus Valley Civilization, flourishing around 2500 BCE in modern-day Pakistan and northwest India, presents one of the most compelling enigmas. Cities such as Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa were meticulously planned, featuring advanced drainage systems, uniform brickwork, and evidence of standardized weights and measures, technologies that rival and in some cases surpass contemporaneous civilizations. The scale and sophistication suggest knowledge inherited from an earlier, possibly global source. Beyond South Asia, enigmatic structures in Southeast Asia, including the megalithic sites of Gunung Padang in Indonesia, hint at even older civilizations. Some researchers suggest that Gunung Padang may have been constructed in layers over thousands of years, with its foundations potentially dating back 20,000 years or more, predating known civilizations. Its orientation and geometry indicate astronomical and engineering knowledge that could connect to a lost global network of advanced societies. In East Asia, unexplained relics and ancient myths reinforce the possibility of hidden knowledge. Ancient Chinese texts speak of lost kingdoms and advanced metallurgical techniques that do not fit the linear historical narrative. Similarly, the legends of submerged lands off the coastlines of Japan and China mirror the Atlantis story, raising questions about a shared memory of global cataclysms or migrations. Taken together, these Asian mysteries indicate a continuity of knowledge and cultural memory that could have survived through millennia, transmitted across regions via trade, migration, or secretive preservation. The architectural feats, urban planning, and mythological echoes suggest that Asia was a significant repository of this hidden global legacy, providing clues that support the hypothesis of an advanced civilization lost to conventional history that may have spanned continents. Europe carries its own enigmatic footprints of a possible hidden global empire. Ancient megalithic structures, from Stonehenge in England to the dolmens of Brittany, display precise astronomical alignments and construction techniques that suggest advanced engineering knowledge. The scale of effort and the sophistication of layout imply coordination beyond what small tribal societies could achieve, hinting at knowledge inherited from an earlier, possibly global civilization. The Mediterranean region offers further intrigue. Minoan Crete, flourishing around 2000 to 1450 BCE, boasted advanced urban planning, hydraulic engineering, and extensive trade networks. Artifacts like the Thistos disk, with its undeciphered symbols, suggest a lost script, potentially preserving knowledge from civilizations older than the Greeks. Similarly, submerged structures off the coasts of Greece, Sicily, and the Italian peninsula hint at settlements destroyed by ancient floods, aligning with theories of cataclysmic events wiping out advanced societies. Northern Europe adds another layer of mystery. The Orkney Islands in Scandinavia hold burial mounds, stone circles, and rune-inscribed monuments that predate many classical histories. Their construction reflects mathematical and astronomical knowledge, echoing architectural patterns seen in distant continents. These parallels suggest that remnants of a widespread, sophisticated civilization could have influenced disparate regions long before recorded history. Legends of Atlantis often intersect with European myths. Plato's dialogues place Atlantis beyond the Pillars of Hercules, yet numerous European flood myths, sunken cities, and powerful lost kingdoms may preserve collective memory of a civilization erased by cataclysm. These echoes reinforce the possibility that Europe was both witness and inheritor of knowledge from a hidden global empire, offering architectural, archaeological, and mythological evidence that complements discoveries in other continents. The vast Pacific Islands and Oceania contain clues suggesting that remnants of a hidden global empire reached the most remote corners of the Earth. Ancient navigators, such as the Polynesians, demonstrated extraordinary maritime skills, traversing thousands of miles between islands without modern instruments. Their oral histories speak of lost lands, colossal floods, and ancestral civilizations that may align with the broader Atlantis narrative. Archaeological discoveries on islands like Easter Island reveal monumental structures, including the Moai statues, carved with precision and transported over significant distances. These feats indicate not only advanced engineering knowledge, but also social organization capable of large-scale collaborative projects, potentially inherited from or inspired by a now-lost civilization. Similarly, the submerged structures off Yonaguni, Japan, and other Pacific seamounts hint at settlements that existed before rising sea levels erased them, echoing global flood myths and the potential disappearance of advanced societies. Trade networks across the Pacific suggest early exchange of goods, culture, and ideas that could reflect contact with other continents, supporting the theory of a dispersed but interconnected global empire. Linguistic patterns, myths of sunken lands, and shared symbolic motifs across distant island cultures point to a common source of knowledge preserved in local traditions. These Pacific enigmas extend the narrative of Atlantis beyond a single continent, implying a civilization whose influence was truly global. By studying the remnants in Oceania, researchers can trace patterns of lost knowledge, architectural ingenuity, and navigational mastery, reinforcing the plausibility of a hidden empire that survived in scattered enclaves, leaving behind evidence for those willing to decode the past. Across the globe, remnants of structures challenge conventional timelines and technological assumptions. The precision of the pyramids in Egypt and Mesoamerica, massive stone circles like Stonehenge, and submerged foundations off coastlines suggest capabilities beyond known ancient civilizations. These constructions share patterns, exact alignment with celestial bodies, mathematically precise dimensions, and enormous stone blocks moved with apparent ease. Conventional archaeology attributes these feats to ingenuity and labor over generations, yet anomalies persist. The precision in cutting granite or basalt, sometimes without evidence of metal tools, raises questions about lost methods. Similarly, massive terraces in South America and monolithic statues on Easter Island indicate knowledge of engineering principles still debated today. When viewed collectively, these structures imply a transmission of knowledge across continents. Could this knowledge have originated from a single advanced civilization, Atlantis?
Historical and friendly. Trade networks further reinforce the notion of political sophistication. Ancient artifacts found far from their origins, obelisks, gemstones, metals, indicate long-distance commerce and coordination. Maritime knowledge required for oceanic navigation, possibly lost over centuries, would have demanded detailed maps, calendars, and communication systems, implying an empire with centralized oversight and intelligence-gathering capabilities. Symbolism embedded in monuments and texts may reveal ideological frameworks designed to unify diverse populations. Recurring motifs, geometric precision, solar alignments, sacred numerology could have served as both spiritual and political tools, consolidating authority while transmitting knowledge. The study of these structures and artifacts suggests that if a hidden empire existed, it was not only technologically advanced, but also politically sophisticated. Its disappearance, whether through catastrophe or deliberate erasure, left behind scattered lessons encoded in surviving civilizations. Recognizing these patterns allows modern scholars to reconstruct the possible political and administrative landscape of a civilization whose reach and influence may have spanned continents, shaping the course of human history in ways only partially visible today. The survival of Atlantis, or a comparable hidden empire, would likely be reflected not only in physical remnants, but also in the transmission of cultural and intellectual knowledge. Across continents, striking parallels in architecture, mythology, and technological practices hint at a shared source of advanced understanding. In the Americas, megalithic structures like the Nazca Lines and Incan stonework exhibit precision and scale difficult to explain solely through indigenous development. Similarly, African sites such as Great Zimbabwe and the Pyramids of Nubia demonstrate advanced construction techniques and urban planning comparable to those in the Mediterranean. In Asia, early river civilizations in the Indus Valley reveal standardized city grids, drainage systems, and standardized weights, suggesting knowledge inherited rather than independently developed. These patterns indicate that Atlantis, or a hidden global empire, may have acted as a hub for cultural diffusion. Its collapse would scatter skilled artisans, engineers, and scholars, who then integrated their knowledge into emerging civilizations. Myths, symbols, and oral traditions could serve as coded vessels for preserving this heritage, obscured by time and local adaptation, but detectable through comparative study. Linguistic similarities, recurring mythological motifs, and shared astronomical knowledge further support the idea of a common source of advanced knowledge. Calendarical systems, precise solar observations, and sacred geometrical principles appear in widely separated societies, suggesting a deliberate transmission of intellectual frameworks rather than coincidental development. Understanding this cultural legacy allows modern researchers to reinterpret ancient accomplishments. Rather than isolated achievements, these societies may represent fragments of a once unified global knowledge network. The diffusion of these practices and ideas could explain the sudden leaps in technological and social complexity observed across disparate civilizations, preserving a hidden empire's influence long after its disappearance. The disappearance of Atlantis as a visible global empire raises questions about the mechanisms of its fall. Cataclysmic events, massive floods, earthquakes, or volcanic eruptions could have triggered societal collapse, forcing its inhabitants to disperse across continents. Geological evidence of sudden sea level changes and seismic activity in the ancient world provides plausible context for such an upheaval. This dispersal would explain why advanced knowledge appears sporadically in early civilizations. Survivors may have integrated into local populations, sharing skills in agriculture, metallurgy, navigation, and architecture, often blending innovations with indigenous traditions. The result is a mosaic of civilizations that, while seemingly independent, carry echoes of a once unified empire. Mythology often preserves memories of this dispersal. Tales of great floods, lost lands, and wandering peoples appear globally, from Mesopotamian epics to Native American legends. These stories may encode historical truths in symbolic form, acting as a bridge between the memory of Atlantis and observable cultural artifacts. Archaeologically, gaps in settlement patterns and sudden leaps in technological sophistication align with the theory of displaced populations introducing advanced practices into nascent societies. Artifacts exhibiting unusual craftsmanship, trade routes linking distant regions, and shared symbolic motifs hint at a coordinated diffusion rather than isolated invention. The fall of Atlantis also implies a deliberate concealment of knowledge. Its survivors may have deliberately obscured origins, preserving secrets in oral traditions, religious practices, or cryptic monuments. The strategy would ensure continuity of influence without revealing the full scope of their lost civilization.
Understanding this dispersal provides a framework to interpret anomalies in ancient history, linking global mysteries to the remnants of a civilization whose reach and influence may have been far greater than any single region's historical record suggests. Explore how remnants of Atlantis' advanced knowledge might persist in later civilizations. Focus on innovations in architecture, navigation, astronomy, and energy systems that appear centuries before expected timelines. Examine evidence in megalithic structures, ancient maps, and mythological texts, suggesting a sophisticated understanding of the natural world. Discuss how these technologies could have been transmitted across generations and continents, sometimes obscured by cultural reinterpretation. Highlight the contrast between conventional historical narratives and anomalies that suggest hidden knowledge, setting the stage for later chapters analyzing global influence and lost sciences. Ancient megalithic structures around the world display precision and engineering sophistication that challenge conventional historical timelines. From the pyramids of Egypt to Stonehenge in England, these constructions exhibit exacting alignments with celestial bodies, geometric ratios, and structural techniques that often seem beyond the capabilities of the cultures credited with building them. Standard explanations rely on large labor forces and simple tools, but anomalies, such as perfectly cut stones, massive transport without modern machinery, and long-distance stone sourcing, suggest an alternative narrative. Some researchers argue these techniques may trace back to a lost source of advanced knowledge, possibly Atlantean in origin. The uniformity of certain architectural principles across continents, despite no known contact, hints at a shared technological inheritance. This section explores notable examples, analyzing the geometric and astronomical precision embedded in each structure, and contrasts the accepted explanations with the possibility that these techniques were inherited from a hidden global empire. By examining recurring patterns, including mathematical constants like pi and phi embedded in ancient constructions, we can trace a conceptual thread connecting civilizations separated by oceans and millennia. These structures serve as silent markers of advanced understanding, challenging the narrative of isolated, incremental human innovation. The investigation raises questions. Were these techniques reinvented independently, or do they represent remnants of a knowledge system lost to time but carried across the world by a civilization whose influence endured long after its disappearance? This analysis sets the stage for exploring the broader technological echoes of Atlantis, positioning megalithic mastery as both a physical and symbolic testament to a hidden legacy that may have shaped human history in ways mainstream archaeology has yet to acknowledge. The notion of Atlantis as a hidden global empire implies mastery of the seas. Maritime capability would have been essential for sustaining trade, communication, and influence across continents long before recorded naval history. Ancient myths and fragmentary records suggest that Atlanteans may have had ships and navigational knowledge far superior to what conventional history credits to their era. Evidence of advanced seafaring can be inferred through cultural diffusion, architectural similarities across distant regions, and the sudden emergence of complex societies in the Americas, Africa, and Asia. These societies demonstrate knowledge and resources that appear disproportionate to their presumed technological context, implying the possibility of external influence or inherited maritime expertise. Archaeological finds, such as submerged structures, ancient harbors, and remnants of long-distance trade routes, support the hypothesis of early oceanic navigation. Additionally, myths from various cultures, ranging from Mesoamerican flood legends to Polynesian seafaring traditions, hint at encounters with a highly organized maritime people. These accounts, while symbolic in nature, may encode historical truths about Atlantis'
their knowledge. Even linguistic similarities in sacred texts and symbols hint at a shared epistemological framework, encoding cosmological understanding in ritualized forms. The moral and philosophical teachings attributed to Atlantis also resonate globally. Concepts of balance, stewardship of natural resources, and harmonious governance emerge repeatedly, suggesting that Atlantean societal structures may have inspired subsequent civilizations' ethical and political systems. Mythological archetypes, such as heroic saviors, great floods, and sun-centered deities, recur with uncanny consistency, reinforcing the possibility of a foundational culture whose influence survived in symbolic form. This section contrasts conventional cultural evolution with the hypothesis of deliberate transmission from a hidden global empire. By tracing echoes in religious architecture, ritual, and mythology, patterns emerge that challenge the notion of isolated cultural development. Recognizing these connections provides a framework for understanding how a lost civilization like Atlantis could leave enduring imprints on human thought, belief, and societal organization, shaping the trajectory of civilizations long after its physical disappearance. Artifacts, structures, and ancient engineering feats hinted knowledge that surpasses what conventional timelines attribute to early civilizations. Megalithic sites, precision-cut stones, and unexplained mechanisms in disparate regions suggest a shared technological heritage potentially originating from Atlantis. The architectural sophistication of the pyramids, ziggurats, and stone circles, often aligned with astronomical phenomena, points to advanced understanding of geometry, astronomy, and material science that could have been inherited rather than independently developed. Maritime technology and navigation may also bear Atlantean influence. Early seafaring cultures across the Mediterranean, Indian Ocean, and the Pacific exhibit sudden leaps in shipbuilding, long-distance navigation, and port infrastructure, aligning with the hypothesis of a hidden maritime empire that disseminated knowledge globally. Certain metalworking techniques, water management systems, and urban layouts found in ancient ruins reflect principles of efficiency, durability, and environmental adaptation reminiscent of Plato's descriptions of Atlantis. The possibility of Atlantean knowledge transmission challenges the standard narrative of linear technological progress. Instead, it suggests cyclical dissemination, where sophisticated understanding emerged, disappeared, and resurfaced across epochs and continents. Recognizing these patterns reframes the history of human innovation, proposing that Atlantis' legacy may persist not only in myth, but in tangible technological echoes that shaped civilizations long after the empire itself vanished. This section contrasts conventional explanations of early technological advancement with the Atlantean hypothesis, emphasizing anomalies and patterns that demand reconsideration. The analysis demonstrates how remnants of forgotten mastery could have subtly directed the trajectory of human ingenuity, leaving an invisible yet pervasive imprint on global civilization. Throughout history, Atlantis has been a recurring symbol within elite intellectual and mystical circles. Secret societies, including Freemasons, Rosicrucians, and other esoteric orders, often reference Atlantean wisdom as a foundation for their teachings. These references suggest that Atlantis represents more than myth. It embodies advanced knowledge, ethical frameworks, and technological mastery that these groups sought to preserve or emulate. Freemasonry, for instance, incorporates symbolic geometry, cosmology, and allegorical narratives that some scholars trace to imagined Atlantean sources. Similarly, Rosicrucian texts frequently allude to lost civilizations and hidden science, positioning Atlantis as a beacon of enlightenment predating recorded history. These mentions are not merely ornamental, they indicate a persistent fascination with lost mastery and human potential. The use of Atlantis in these societies also serves a psychological function. By framing knowledge as hidden or accessible only to the initiated, it creates an aura of mystery and exclusivity, reinforcing social hierarchies and intellectual authority. Members are encouraged to perceive history as layered, with visible events representing only fragments of a deeper, concealed reality. Beyond symbolism, some historians argue that these societies have sought to transmit practical knowledge encoded in myth. Atlantean narratives include descriptions of advanced construction techniques, astronomical alignment, and water management systems that could have inspired real-world innovations. Whether allegorical or literal, these references have sustained interest in Atlantis over centuries, linking the myth to a broader narrative of human progress, secrecy, and the enduring quest for understanding hidden truths. The continued fascination with Atlantean knowledge illustrates how myth and history intersect, shaping both cultural imagination and the frameworks through which societies interpret the past. Atlantis becomes a lens to explore not only what was lost, but what humans have always sought to recover. Atlantean legends often describe a civilization possessing technologies far beyond the supposed capabilities of its era. Ancient texts suggest that Atlanteans mastered engineering, metalworking, and energy systems that allowed them to construct massive urban centers, sophisticated waterways, and powerful defensive structures. While these accounts are largely mythological, some researchers argue that remnants of advanced techniques may persist in historical anomalies around the world. For instance, precision-cut megalithic structures in locations like Baalbek in Lebanon or Pumapuku in Bolivia display engineering and alignment that challenge conventional explanations. Some theorists posit that these skills were inherited from Atlantean knowledge, passed down indirectly through surviving cultures. In particular, the use of unknown tools or techniques for cutting and transporting enormous stones hints at a forgotten technological tradition. Legends also describe Atlanteans harnessing energy sources that remain mysterious. Tales of crystal power, directed sound, or even water-based energy suggest methods of generating or concentrating power that predate documented human experimentation. While modern science has yet to validate these claims, the repeated narrative of lost technology reinforces the idea of a civilization whose achievements were deliberately erased or forgotten. The fascination with these technological echoes shapes contemporary interpretations of archaeological sites. Researchers and enthusiasts analyze anomalies not merely as curiosities, but as potential fingerprints of highly advanced society. This approach frames Atlantis as a case study in human ingenuity and the fragility of knowledge over millennia. Ultimately, the technological narratives of Atlantis serve dual purposes. They inspire speculation about forgotten capabilities, and they challenge the assumption that technological sophistication is strictly linear. The myth becomes a vehicle for questioning how much of human potential has been obscured by time, catastrophe, or deliberate suppression. unparalleled mastery of mathematics, astronomy, and governance. These echoes suggest that Atlantis, or a civilization like it, may have indirectly shaped the trajectory of human history by providing foundational knowledge later incorporated into emerging societies. By examining linguistic patterns, ritual similarities, and the symbolic resonance of megalithic structures, researchers can trace potential threads of Atlantean influence. The legacy of Atlantis may not be found in intact cities or artifacts alone, but in the persistent, subtle imprint on global human civilization. These enduring traces challenge conventional chronology, hinting at a hidden chapter of human achievement whose consequences continue to reverberate through time. Atlantean constructions, if they existed, reveal a level of engineering sophistication unmatched by contemporaneous civilizations. The precision of megalithic stonework, the alignment of massive structures with celestial bodies, and the durability of construction methods suggest an advanced understanding of geometry, leverage, and material science. Unlike other ancient cultures, which built incrementally and relied heavily on trial and error methods, Atlantis may have applied systematic principles that allowed them to achieve architectural feats centuries ahead of their time. Their urban planning also hints at a mastery of civil engineering. Cities were reportedly laid out according to harmonic proportions, with water channels, roads, and public spaces designed for both functionality and aesthetic symmetry. Complex hydraulic systems, possibly including canals, reservoirs, and early forms of pumps, would have supported agriculture, sanitation, and energy generation in ways that were sustainable and efficient. The scale of construction implies not only technological prowess, but also social organization capable of mobilizing labor, materials, and expertise effectively. This efficiency, combined with advanced knowledge, could explain why Atlantean ruins, if any remain, would appear so enigmatic to later civilizations. Even modern engineers studying ancient sites struggle to replicate techniques that seem simple in theory but are remarkably precise in execution. Atlantean engineering, therefore, was not merely functional. It was a reflection of an advanced civilization's understanding of the natural world and the forces they harnessed. Each structure, from monumental temples to urban aqueducts, would have encoded knowledge about physics, mathematics, and environmental management. These feats challenge our assumptions about ancient capabilities and suggest that Atlantis, if real, may have left behind lessons in engineering excellence that modern civilization has only begun to recognize. Atlantean society, as imagined through historical speculation and myth, appears to have possessed knowledge that far surpassed contemporaneous civilizations. Legends hint at technologies capable of harnessing natural energies, perhaps through sophisticated water management, advanced metallurgy, and mechanisms that predate known historical inventions. Unlike other ancient cultures whose technologies were primarily pragmatic and incremental, Atlantis may have implemented integrated systems that combined efficiency, sustainability, and innovation. This knowledge likely extended into astronomy and navigation. Atlanteans are believed to have mapped the stars with precision, possibly predicting celestial events and using them to guide both agriculture and seafaring. Maps and artifacts, if they existed, would have conveyed not only geographic but also mathematical and scientific understanding, encoded to survive beyond the collapse of the civilization itself. Such mastery of knowledge would explain why echoes of their expertise appear in disparate locations across the globe, from advanced megalithic alignments in South America to monumental architecture in the Mediterranean. Energy manipulation may have also been another domain of Atlantean advancement. Theories suggest they could have developed ways to channel natural forces, hydraulic, mechanical, or even electromagnetic, into practical applications for city infrastructure, defense, or daily life. The civilization's reputed longevity and societal stability imply a level of governance and education capable of preserving and transmitting knowledge systematically. Atlantean technology, therefore, was not merely about tools, but about understanding and applying principles that integrated the environment, mathematics, and human ingenuity. If remnants exist, modern archaeology and engineering could uncover techniques that were forgotten, lost, or misattributed over millennia. Such discoveries would challenge conventional historical narratives and force a reevaluation of the origins of advanced knowledge in human history. The cultural imprint of Atlantis, though obscured by time, may have subtly influenced civilizations across the globe. Mythology, art, and religious symbolism in ancient societies often hint at motifs that parallel Atlantean ideals, such as centralized governance, sacred geometry, and reverence for natural forces. These echoes suggest that knowledge or traditions survived the empire's fall, transmitted through trade, migration, or storytelling. In the Mediterranean, for example, early Greek and Egyptian architecture exhibit geometric precision and cosmological alignment that some scholars speculate could originate from Atlantean principles. Similarly, megalithic structures in the Americas, like those in Peru and Mesoamerica, reflect sophisticated planning and construction techniques that appear unexpectedly advanced for their time. These shared architectural features may represent a diffusion of lost Atlantean methods or the rediscovery of parallel innovations inspired by contact with remnants of the empire. Atlantean social organization may also have set precedents for governance and education. Legends describe a society structured around wisdom, meritocracy, and communal responsibility, contrasting with the autocratic or fragmented systems of neighboring civilizations. Such ideals may have been preserved in myths, oral traditions, and early legal codes, influencing the ethical and philosophical frameworks of subsequent cultures. Language, symbolism, and ritual practices might also carry Atlantean imprints. Certain recurring iconography, from concentric circles to depictions of celestial alignment, suggests an underlying knowledge system that connected spirituality, mathematics, and cosmology. These motifs, scattered across continents and epochs, indicate a transmission of memory beyond written history. The cumulative effect of these influences implies that Atlantis, even in disappearance, became a hidden architect of human progress. Its cultural legacy, encoded in monuments, myths, and societal structures, offers a shadow history that challenges linear historical narratives and invites deeper investigation into humanity's shared heritage. Atlantean civilization, as legend and speculation suggest, may have possessed technological capabilities far exceeding contemporary societies. Accounts describe mechanisms that manipulated energy, water, and materials with precision that seems improbable for the ancient world. While tangible evidence remains elusive, patterns in architecture, navigation, and engineering across disparate regions hint at a shared advanced understanding. Maritime prowess is one area where Atlantean innovation may have left a mark. Stories of vast fleets and long-distance voyages imply knowledge of currents, astronomy, and shipbuilding techniques that facilitated global connections. Such expertise could explain the sudden appearance of advanced coastal settlements in regions separated by thousands of miles, suggesting either direct contact or knowledge transfer from Atlantean mariners. Energy manipulation and construction techniques form another speculative domain. The alignment of megalithic structures with celestial events, the precise cutting and placement of massive stones, and the possible use of unknown energy sources suggest knowledge that surpasses what was thought achievable with simple tools. Some researchers propose that Atlanteans harnessed natural forces, such as water, sound, or magnetism, to move and shape materials, leaving behind structures that continue to defy modern explanation. Additionally, Atlantean records or encoded knowledge may have survived in symbolic or oral forms, influencing mathematics, astronomy, and philosophy in later civilizations. The repetition of certain motifs, concentric circles, star maps, and sacred geometry across continents indicates a transfer of conceptual frameworks rather than mere coincidence. If these technologies and knowledge streams were preserved or partially rediscovered, they could have accelerated human advancement in fragmented ways, seeding innovation unevenly across different societies. Atlantis, therefore, represents not only a political or cultural phenomenon, but a repository of lost science,
offering a hidden blueprint of human potential that challenges conventional historical timelines. The disappearance of Atlantis, whether through natural catastrophe or deliberate concealment, remains central to its enduring mystery. According to Plato, a cataclysm submerged the island, erasing its civilization from direct historical record. Modern speculation extends this, suggesting a combination of geological upheavals, climate shifts, and potential warfare as contributing factors. Earthquakes, tsunamis, or rapid sea level changes could have decimated infrastructure, forcing survivors to disperse and scatter knowledge. Concealment may also have been intentional. If Atlanteans possessed advanced technology or sensitive knowledge, secrecy would have been critical for survival. Records could have been encoded in symbols, myths, or structures, hidden in plain sight across continents. Legends and